time for a quick lunchtime chat. Of course, I had decided that I was going to do my theme song before I filmed, or at the start of every single one of my videos to see if I could actually consistently play the same song. Uh, but that's really unlikely. But I don't have my accordion because, it's a work day and I don't really take my accordion to work, and definitely don't ever go home during my lunch hour, or at least don't usually go home during my lunch hour. So I don't have my accordion, and so I can't play my theme song. And I have no pretensions of ever playing for people on stage or anything like that. What's kind of funny is that I just play for fun. I really just love the accordion, so I play for fun. But I had asked our tech guy, who fixes our internet and all of that. I had asked him um, if someday I felt like playing with somebody ever, if he knew any sousaphone players, and because he's also very into local music, and he said, "Well, I know lots of sousaphone players," and I'm like, "What kind of crazy place is Roswell that he knows lots of sousaphone players?" I mean, it doesn't really have to be a sousaphone; a tuba would be good too. I love the tuba and I love the sousaphone, um, so that would be a fun time to play with a sousaphone or a tuba player while playing my accordion. I forgot my sunglasses, and maybe this was kind of more spontaneous than I wish it was, because I'm kind of squinting in the sun right now. It's very bright out here because it's New Mexico, it's a bright, cold day, and it's actually not as cold as I expected, but I have my really warm winter coat thinking that it was going to be super cold out here, and it's not nearly as cold as expected. But it's nice. I'm just going to soak up the sun and talk about how crazy Roswell is, because you know what? It really is crazy. And when I first moved here, I did not really like it. It was kind of a culture shock. I lived in the foothills of the Magdalenas, and I had this beautiful view, and I was in that Rio Grande Valley, and it was beautiful, and a different culture entirely than here. And at first I thought, well, Roswell is more like Texas, but as I've traversed into West Texas since then, I've realized, no, it's not really like Texas, and it's not really like New Mexico, and it's not really like Mexico, although all of those aspects come together to make it what it is. Roswell has had a long time Chihuahuan settlement here since the mid 1800s, and so long before New Mexico was a state. And it's just a different culture than the Spanish New Mexicans, because when New Mexico was under Spanish rule and then later the Mexican rule, they were really cut off from Mexico City, so they didn't really have a culture that resembled Mexico that much. But here in Roswell, it's a little bit different because of that Chihuahuan settlement, which predates New Mexico being a state, obviously, since it's mid 1800s. And so, Roswell was a no man's land New Mexico was a no man's land for a long time, because it was under no rule for a while before the United States decided that they would allow it to be a state in the United States. The violent crime rate was pretty high for a long time because it was no man's land, and I think that people from the other parts of the United States came here looking for trouble, looking for action. I don't know, like Billy the Kid and the like. Gosh. Okay. I always have to change my hand mid when I'm doing this because I'm just holding my phone. It's terrible. So where was I going with this? Oh yes, talking about how weird Roswell is. Roswell's really grown on me. I do like it now. It's just weird because of the elements that come together, and it's just different from other parts of New Mexico. And of course, it's one of the only red parts of New Mexico as well, although somehow we managed to get a Democrat governor here. Not governor, mayor, Democrat mayor. I was like, that doesn't sound like the right word. No, we don't have a governor because we're not our own state. No, the mayor of Roswell is a Democrat. I don't really know how that happened, but not that I would ever personally vote for a Democrat. I sometimes will vote for Republicans, sometimes not, but I will never ever vote for Democrats. Just not going to happen. Their value system is so different from mine, so that's never going to happen. There's your little bit of politics for the day. But yeah, this little red area has a Democrat mayor. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, this area of the state is just bizarre, and it's I thought it was ugly. I didn't get the culture when I first moved here. I still don't really get it. It's weird. I don't understand the culture very well, but it has grown on me because it's weird, and I like weird places. Like I've said before that I'd moved to El Paso because it's weird, and I like odd places that other people think, I would never live there because for various reasons. And I'm like, well, I would live there just because it's odd. And then I might complain about it because, I complain about living in Roswell. The funny thing is, yeah, I'm very open about living in Roswell, but, the whole privacy ship sailed years ago. I mean, all of our information is all over the internet. I put my real name up on the internet a long time ago because I wanted to be an author, so I wanted my name to be recognized. But, Uncle Google has all of our information. Thankfully, they're not always as up to date as they could be. So I guess that is a little bit of privacy. But when I moved here, I decided, well, since I write sci-fi, okay, so my books so far, I have the first one's kind of a supernatural, has dragons in it. So it's not really fantasy, more like urban fantasy, I guess. It has dragons in it. And then my second novel has androids, and my third one has aliens. So I guess, yeah, it's kind of sci-fi, falls under that category. The book I will be publishing soon is sort of a gothic, magical, realist comedy, murder mystery. Yeah, it's kind of one of those cross-genre books. But I thought, well, I should market off the fact that I live in Roswell. Why not? So yeah, I've been very open about living in Roswell because it's the land of the aliens. And when I first moved here, I lived on these apartments on Poe Street, which is really funny because Poe, was one of our, not the earliest Gothic. The earliest Gothic would have been 18th century in England, and Poe was a 19th century Gothic author. But he's still a Gothic author, so it fits within sort of that oeuvre. I don't do French at all. My Spanish is bad enough, but I definitely don't do French. Anyway, today was the Spotify wrap. I don't know why I just thought of that. Maybe, I don't know, but maybe because I think it's funny because, we use these apps like YouTube and Spotify, and they collect our data, and then they spiel it back at us like it's this great fun prize that we're winning. You listen to Spotify for this many, well, mine was like 36,000 minutes or something like that, because I listen to a lot of YouTube videos too, so it gets kind of split up. I listen to way too many YouTube podcasts and music videos too, because sometimes I like to watch my favorite musicians play, and especially I think that somehow if I stare at them long enough, I can figure out how they're playing the accordion, how they're getting the specific sound that they're getting. And I guess it's useful, except that most music videos don't just focus on the accordion player, and I'm like, dang it, I just want to stare at the accordion player. But I thought it was funny because apparently I am in the 0.05%, top Calibre 50 listeners. But a lot of those songs I was listening to, I like the band, I just really like the band, but I was listening to some of their songs over and over and over and over again because I was trying to figure out how to play them on the accordion, and some of them are easier to figure out than others. But anyway, I tend to do that, listen to songs over and over again. I also discovered from my Spotify wrap that my music taste, the collection of music that I listen to, is similar to what people in Jalisco, Mexico listen to. So I didn't know that. That was an interesting take. So apparently, yes, my musical tastes align with Jalisco, Mexico. So there you go. That's an interesting thing to learn for the day. And yeah, I don't even know, where was I even going with this? Oh, I don't know. Like my bad Spanish, when I sing or speak in Spanish. And I think it's funny that I would be a top listener of Calibre 50. My Spanish accent is pretty bad. My Spanish has mostly been learned from listening to music and from my college degree, where I took a whole bunch of Spanish classes. I took like 400 and 500 level Spanish classes, but it's kind of one of those things where you learn how to read books and you learn how to read fluently. And I kind of, you know you can't really look up vocabulary. You just have to read and understand from that. It just becomes this fluency where you don't where you understand even if you don't understand every single word exactly. And it's the only really way to become fluent in a second language. um, and mostly that has only happened with reading, unfortunately. Yeah, there's my hand. I've got to change hands again. My arms are tired. Um, and I lost my train of thought again. There we go. Yeah, so when I listen to music, I don't really stop and look up vocabulary either. I just listen and enjoy. It's like passive listening all the time. So I'm passively listening to Spanish all the time. And so I understand it better than I speak it. Um, unless I'm having a conversation with somebody and then I get kind of panicked and they talk too fast. The Spanish has more syllables per second than almost any language in the world. I think there's one other language that's faster. I've probably said that before. But if you ever wonder why you're getting frustrated, that's probably partly the reason why you can't understand people who speak Spanish. But when I listen to music, it's very passive. But sometimes when I'm listening and I just suddenly like really hear the lyrics and feel them very deeply, and so those songs tend to become my favorite songs. And so that I don't know, they just like pop out at me, even if I've listened to them hundreds of times, and all of a sudden I'm like, boy, I really like the lyrics to that song. And like one of those songs from last year was Una Página Más by Los Cadetes, and they're one of my top bands. I think they were one of my top 5 bands for 2023. I think my top ones were Calibre 50, Los Dos Carnales, Cadetes. What am I missing? Oh, Fidel Ruedo. No, he was third, and then the Cadetes, and then when I say Cadetes, I mean like with Lupe Tijerina. Cadetes. That's I know there are other people who kind of stole that band title, but I don't know. Anyway, so that's what I mean. And then Marco Antonio Solis is my 5th most listened to music. But the thing about him is that I always listen to him when I write. So he's always going to be in there. And that's surprising because obviously I don't write very often because he didn't come up number 1. And yeah, I listen to like his greatest hits or whatever when I write, because when I listen to his voice, he triggers me to write. So I hear him, the first sounds of his voice, and I'm like, okay, now I can write my book because I'm listening to him. And I think it's because he has beautiful melodic vocals, but he's, I shouldn't say his music's not so outstanding that it distracts me, but I think it's because, he does have songs with accordion, but that's not like the main emphasis of his music. It's his vocals. And when I listen to accordion music, I want to, like go running down the street, dancing, or I want to play my accordion, or I want to sing, or whatever. And I don't really have that instinct when I listen to Marco Antonio Solis, but I love listening to his music. Anyway, this has been a this has been a completely unfocused video. I think I had something I wanted to say. I don't even remember what it was, but I will have to go soon because, of course, I don't even know what time it is, and it's probably time for me to go back to work, and I have to get there and clock on and all of that. So I have got to shut this thing down. I hope that you have a marvelous day where you are, even if it's not all sunny and beautiful as it is here. I, um, I I thought that I would. There are people who are over there working on the bell tower that was the influence for my book cover, and they are working on the roof. So they are over there right now, and I can get, ooh, they're going down the ladder. You can see they're going down the ladder right now. Anyway, I don't really want to be in my video, but I'm gonna talk as I'm walking away from the Ave Maria Grotto, my favorite place to film during my lunch hour because it's nice and pleasant. And all right, I'm going to shut this down. Have a great day. Goodbye.